everyone. Welcome back to Keep Indiana Learning. Today we are here to keep Indiana reading with our book study on a hot topic. Our book of choice is The Anxious Generation, How the Great Rewiring of Childhood is Causing an Epidemic of Mental Illness by Jonathan Haidt. This book is a #1 New York Times bestseller, and I cannot wait to dive into this one and get talking. So who am I? My name is Melissa Wally, and I am a digital innovation coach with Keep Indiana Learning. I'm a technology coach and ed tech specialist for Hanover Community Schools in Cedar Lake, Indiana. And I'm also a board member with HEC, which is how I met my co-host, Diana.
And I'm Diana Knox. I am a technology instructional specialist at Clay Community Schools over on the west central side of Indiana. I'm an ISTE certified and a Canvas certified educator, and I serve on the HEC board. And then, of course, I'm an innovation coach with Keep Indiana Learning. And like Melissa, if you've been around us ever, you know that we sometimes joke we have similar interests. We walk a little bit of a parallel life. I'm also super excited to dive into this book because it's so relevant in our world, but then also the impact that it could have as educators and technology coaches.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the format of our book study because that's important. So looking at the book, there are 13 chapters, and we're going to break it up into 7 sessions. So today's intro, which is not one of the 7 sessions, but today's intro will cover the logistics of the book study. And during subsequent episodes, we are going to break that book study up. And if you're watching live, episodes will be released about every other week. And then you can choose to read along with us and use this as an independent or a group book study. And then you can also use our content and take our book study to go and use it in your schools with your team or grade level or however you choose. So the beauty of Keep Indiana Learning is that the content lives on the platform after it airs live and can be accessed at any time. So you don't have to tune in as it airs.
So this book it's one of the things that this summer, this book kind of hit our radar. And then in the subsequent months since then, it's everywhere. And maybe we're just more hyper aware of it. But this is a topic that a lot of people are thinking about. We know there's been some book studies done in other districts around the country, maybe with parent groups, teacher groups. And as coaches, we wanted to discuss it, think about our takeaways from the major themes, how it can impact educational technology in the classrooms, and then even just thinking about our own personal lives and things that, though we are not adolescents any longer, boy, am I a far cry from an adolescent these days, but I do recognize certain things in myself that maybe are poor habits that I need to adjust because it's easy to take the easy way out and say, oh my gosh, no tech. But that's just not feasible in the 21st century where we live now. You know, we're really almost a quarter of the way through this century. And so technology is everywhere and it's expanding. It's not going away. So we can't be the ostrich that puts our head in the sand about that. So we have to read this with the idea of the takeaways and how we can balance technology and a healthy life.
And what I really find interesting about this book is the way that it looks at the different roles and responsibilities in children's lives. Like, what role do we all play, and how can we help? So as I read along with the book study, I can't wait to learn more about this and look at it from different lenses and think about my role, not just as an adolescent, but looking back, my children are now grown, but how did tech influence them? Because they are who the children are in the book. That's exactly who they are. They are part of the generation that was impacted by technology as everything developed. And so, I like to think about that as I read. And then also think about the students that we have in our classrooms today. Like, what do we need to change? What do we need to keep? And I think that's important too, is as we learn, we know better. As we know better, we do better. So yeah, I can't wait to really learn more. When I first heard about the book, it made me a little bit nervous because it made me a little bit anxious because the instant reaction is tech is bad, and that's not the message that's coming from this book. So like Diana said, there's balance there, and we have to know what to keep and what to adjust. And so that's something I'm really looking forward to.
And I thought, reading that introduction, Growing Up on Mars, he did such a good job of kind of laying the groundwork, his background, his experiences. He defines who his targets are and gives us a really good backstory to think about who are adolescents. And he says it's not all technology. It was a shift in parenting strategies as well that came up. And he talks about different types of relationships, and a term that many of us have heard. We see some asynchronous in here. We think about that with learning, but he talks about asynchronous relationships. And so as he goes through and he gives his background, he's a social psychologist, and he talks about, he studies morality, emotion, and culture, and this change in technology and rewiring of American childhood, or not just American childhood, it's a global phenomenon. It impacts all of those things. Morality, emotion, and culture are all impacted by this great rewiring. And so, his background is that he is a professor at New York University. He teaches graduate and undergraduate courses. He's the social psychologist. He also has previously published other books. The Happiness Hypothesis, Finding Modern Truth in Ancient Wisdom, The Righteous Mind, Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion. Boy, that's a relevant one right now. And The Coddling of the American Mind, plus some others. So he's got a previous background of being a published, recognized author. So for me, looking at this foundation, this is going to be exciting to get into.
Yeah, the introduction really, I thought, like you said, laid the groundwork for what the book is going to bring to the table. And it certainly is going to bring some important points. So with that being said, if you don't have a copy yet, you can certainly find it wherever books are sold. And so Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, a local bookstore if you are fortunate enough to have one. But we can't wait to get started on this, and we hope to see you soon.
Yes. Hope to see you soon. Join us. Be ready to think.